without fuel. Am I out of fuel? Wake up, wake up.
And we're back with another episode of Fuck You Money with Ty and Yo. I'm Yo. That's my man Ty. And we have a special guest with us today, Miss Monica Coleman.
Good morning. And thank you guys for having me today.
Monica, can you please tell them where we are?
We are at Stanley's Cigar Lounge. Stanley's Cigar Lounge was opened in September 2021 in the city of South Fulton, which is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Southside.
Exactly. Stanley is actually my grandfather. He was the first entrepreneur in my family, so I named this place after him just to pay homage and respect to my lineage and my legacy in my family of entrepreneurship. So we offer premium cigars. We offer a great drink selection, some creative drinks and some classics. We have live music. We offer food. So we really try to give people a complete experience that come here to enjoy their cigars, enjoy themselves, and just kind of pull away from the bustle and hustle of every day.
Slow down.
Yeah. These make you stop for a second.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, you can't smoke a cigar and razzle dazzle. It's,
no more
you
tasks.
Correct. You need to just sit down, enjoy a stick, have a conversation with somebody,
100%.
meet a new person.
Right.
And the beauty of cigars is you could literally smoke a different cigar every day of the year.
Right.
If you made that your goal, there are enough types of cigars, brands of cigars that you don't ever have to smoke the same thing twice unless you want to. So,
funny story. I'm in Miami at a cigar lounge. I'm with my boy Stan, with my girl and her friend. Her friend, I found out in that moment that she loves cigars. She's like this slim, like New Yorker. She does not look like a cigar smoker.
Pause. What does a cigar smoker look like? I want to hear this.
Well, she didn't look like one.
Do I look like a cigar smoker?
You look like you would probably take the pleasure in a cigar.
That's interesting.
Like you have a certain, it feels like cigar smokers have a certain maturity about it.
Okay.
This young lady was like, looked super youthful, like really playful. She didn't
He said I look old and tired.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Mature, seasoned.
He said I look old and tired.
I'm not touching it.
And I smoke cigars. I smoke as the old folks say, cigars.
But the funny thing about it, this is why this story is going to be interesting. She ordered a chocolate cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue that there were chocolate cigars. Then it made absolutely sense why she smoked cigars. Because she only smoked
that chocolate
cigar.
It's interesting because you have people who are more traditional smokers that hate flavor cigar. I don't smoke flavor, but a lot of people who enjoy cigars, they hate that there's one Groovy Blue that tastes like blueberry, and then you got cherry, chocolate, cognac. But the majority of smokers are new smokers, casual smokers, like people who are just being introduced to the lifestyle. Then you have people who just like cigar lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so they're going to be more likely to try, like a flavor.
I didn't even know that.
And
that
we
was
have, in our industry, in some ways is under attack from the government and FDA because of flavor cigars and the notion of marketing those supposedly to younger people, which is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a trade organization called the Premium Cigar Association that fights on our behalf and lobbies for our industry, right? So I'm part of that. And so there's a big challenge now with flavor cigars and how it may appeal to teenagers, which I'm like, nobody's walking into 11th grade with a cigar.
So let me get this straight. They can put these very beautiful looking white women with cigarettes that is literally marketed towards the youth.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put a chocolate covered cigar in there, they call it a lie.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Like, yeah, that's exactly.
And people don't realize how highly regulated this, like I can't do boosted ads on social media.
Yes.
Because it's tobacco.
Really?
So I can't boost posts or advertise on any of the platforms because of that. I can't do text like promotions through my point of sale system because of that. So there are a lot of things that are challenges, you know, in a highly regulated industry like this that people don't even know exist for
Even
us.
with like the digital social media space, that's newer than cigars. But even that, you're not able to navigate around.
Nope. If I try to boost a post, it's like, no, this has promotion of tobacco. Even though I'm just saying, hey, come see a live band.
Right.
It's like, nope. It's
That's
tobacco involved. So
come watch football.
Nope.
right. So we want to get into this concept for you. Two concepts. One concept is the fuck you money and what that means to you, right? And then the second concept is how does being a Black woman in this industry, what has been the pros and the cons? What type of support have you gotten that you can actually, you know, speak towards and that can be duplicated for other Black women that might want to get into similar industries, right? And then we'll finish the conversation off with like speaking about business and is it personal, right?
Okay.
But let's start with fuck you money. When you hear fuck you money, what comes to mind?
To me, that is when you have enough resources and capital to live life on your terms. I'm assuming that's what you guys mean by that, or
I mean, you ride on the money.
Yeah, when you have reached a point of comfort with your business, who you are, and financially, that you know you get to choose what you align with, what you don't, how you spend your time, what you invest energy in. I was telling somebody, you know, certain resources in this world are infinite, right? We have an infinite amount of love that you can give to anybody. You don't have an infinite amount of time. You just you don't. Time is limited, you know, and I think the older you get, you start to understand that more, and you start to really think about, okay, am I really doing what I want to do, and how do I position myself for that? So the biggest thing I can say that the season that I'm in, when it comes to getting to the fuck you money point, is positioning, right? Like, what am I doing to position myself, not just for now, but 5 years from now? And as entrepreneurs, that's kind of scary because you have no idea, you know, when you run a business like this that's consumer driven, the economy impacts it, holidays impact it, rain impacts it, emotions impact, you know, there's so many factors that are outside of your control that you can't always bank on, right? I think the biggest fuck you money opportunities right now are in fields that require intuitive thinking that AI can't do, that require actual physical labor, that require snap decision making, that, you know, AI and technology is years away from, and understanding how you know, integrate into those things, because there are going to be so many industries that are going AI, computer, that it just is what it is. So how do you create a lane for yourself, and create that opportunity? So positioning is the key, and thinking about not just this moment, right? But what does my moment look like 5 years from now? And it's scary.
Yeah. I got recently I was doing this unconsciously, but recently I read somewhere or somebody told me that they lived their lives in decades. And it really like resonated with me because I was like, man, when you thinking about it in that way, they're like, I live my life in decades and I take a decade, then I break it down. Right. And it's the same thing that you're speaking about when it's like, you know, you do a 5-year plan. When you're planning 5 years from a business perspective, when they tell you most businesses, small businesses do not survive after 3 years. And like you're hearing all of these negative, you know, statistics that really directly you think about, like, man, and I'm a Black woman doing a business.
And you
that started to reduce it even
and
more.
You experience it, you see it. Yeah. So you hear it, you understand it. You know, when I hear people talk about other businesses, like, oh, I can't believe they went out of business. I'm like, well, hell, I can, because I know how challenging it is. And even people who don't have a brick and mortar, right?
Right.
You know, 100%. Like having a building, it's a whole different ball game than like, oh, I'm a boss from my house. No, like I'm like, do you have
no shade,
no shade, but it's
be a boss from the house.
Right. But when you have cam fees, rent, code enforcement, you have the fire marshals, the police, HVAC problems, you know, plumbing. When you have those things,
food,
so also
food
all
liquor,
that, all of those things, food service permit. So, you know, because you have a business anytime, the people can roll up on you and just take a look around and see. That shit is a lot. So it's a lot.
Can I jump in real fast?
Mm-hmm.
You started Stanley's in 2021.
When it was still pandemic-y.
That's what I'm saying. Pandemic-y.
Very pandemic-y.
Yeah. Were you worried about your position at that time? Or how you were positioning yourself?
Yes. I was worried about because we saw that, you know, COVID came like a bat out of hell, and businesses like this were shutting down because they had no choice. You know, they weren't making the money. The government had regulations on who could come in, who could go out. So when I was opening, it was still risky because we still hadn't completely figured the whole COVID thing out. So, you know, I had to think about, okay, what happens in 3 months? And that December, I opened in September, and that December there was like a new variant, the quick one that lived in your nose. And so, so all of a sudden, it was like weird. Like, it was like, now you got COVID, you got COVID. So that happened like 3 months after I opened. And so I had staff sick. I had 7 masks on because I'm interacting with people. You know, I had customers that we had a New Year's Eve party. It wasn't well attended because half the people had gotten COVID. So I had invested money in the band and this and that, and people had bought tickets and they couldn't come because they were sick. So it did have, you know, when that happened, I was kind of like, okay, how do we really, you know, manage this? And the only thing that helped, thank God, was that people were so tired of being home. They were like, I'm gonna just risk it all. You know? I'm like, all right. So I had people coming in though every other day, and they would do like a sanitation, you know. So I was trying to do my part to make sure that I was protecting my customers. You know, my staff was free to wear masks if that's what they felt more comfortable doing. So, you know, as a business owner, I tried to do my part, but it was definitely, even my grand opening, I still have somebody mad at me right now, almost 3 years later, because my agreement with the city about having a big grand opening was I had to do it in like 2 shifts, if you will, per day. Wow. Right? So it was like one group of people could come from like 6 to 10, and then the other ones could come at night. So because of that, I had to have a list, right, for people to know, okay, this is your time. And between events, we had to clear it out, wipe everything down. So this guy is still like, well, I don't go there because when I came for the grand opening, they said I couldn't get in, and so I don't go there no more. Bruh, like, I didn't want to do it that way, but I had to figure out a way to do it where it was comfortable, where the city wouldn't think I was having a super spreader event. So, but that's, you know, again, one of those things that impacts business is someone's, you know, thought process without having the information and taking something personal that, you know,
not personal
at all. At all. So
that always lies into it, you know, from that perspective. And so when you piggybacking off of like different personal aspect of it, before we started the conversation, we was talking about business and how it is personal and like the different perspectives on what that is. And you said something that was very key that I never heard anybody articulate before about business is personal. And you basically said, it's hard for me to believe that a person is just like this nice, cuddly, kind person at home, but then when they get to work, they're sharp.
Gremlin. Yeah, like I don't think you
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, like I don't think people are, you can't sprinkle water on somebody and turn them into a gremlin. If that's who you are, that's who you are. So when people say, I'm a whole different person at work, no, you're not. You know, if you're an asshole at work, probably an asshole at your house too. Like it's just what it is. And so I think a lot of, you take who you are to work, right? So you have people in some situations that don't work well with their coworkers. Why? Because they have insecurities that have nothing to do with their coworkers about their worth and their ability, and it manifests itself in their inability to work on a team. If you feel unworthy at home and you bring that to work, now I can't look at you and say we both can win on this project. I got to figure out how can I show her up, because that's some shit that has nothing to do with this. Mm-hmm. And so as a boss, there are a lot of decisions I make based on what I draw from, what I believe. I'm a Christian. I believe in whatever I'm doing, it's because God has put me in a position to do it, and I owe it to him and to other people to be a blessing. Mm-hmm. And that's not always going to make me the most money. That's not always going to put me first in my decisions. That's not always going to allow me to make decisions that, you know, might be best for me, regardless of how they impact other people. That's led to times where my staff is paid and everybody paid, and I might be eating wrap snacks because I'm like, well, I made payroll, everybody's straight, everything good, but you know, but I just have to believe when you draw from the right things and you treat people well and you make decisions that when you look back, you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, do you feel comfortable about the decisions that you're making? Mm-hmm. And some people are sharks. Sharks go far.
Yeah. No,
sharks go far. And
AAE.
They do. They'll eat your head off if it comes to the money. And I don't knock it.
Yeah.
If that's what you draw from and that's your philosophy on business and life, I'm not judging you. It's just not.
That's not mine. You make a really great point, because my actual version of fuck you money is being able to control my time. Mm-hmm. So that's not really connected to money more so than it's connected to what I do with the resources that I do have. Mm-hmm. Right? So if I am staffing, you know, a staff of employees, I know moving forward, like, okay, I gotta make this amount of money to control my time. Then I gotta make this amount of money to be able to hire out people. Mm-hmm. And once I make that commitment to hire the people out, then I'm sticking to that commitment until I make more money that I can kind of like do both, right? Yep. But so I won't take no risk that will negatively impact either one of those. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's when my fuck you money is at its strongest. As long as I can control my time, and controlling my time just meaning that I make enough money because I got a manageable overhead, right? And so it really, really makes it so that through COVID, through all these different experiences, we never had to fire anybody or lay anybody off, because I was already had put that number together. This is the number I need to control my time. Mm-hmm. And as long as I control my time, I got fuck you money. I can decide if I want to do something, decide if I don't want to do it, because I'm controlling my time frame and all those different aspects.
And I think it's important to note that to get to that point sometimes takes sacrifice. Right? For 29 weeks straight, I have had to, probably 30-some weeks now, be here on Mondays to open up by myself and bartend, right? It's a sacrifice to have to do that.
You said 29 weeks straight.
Yep. Every Monday, because thankfully on other days I have staff that can come in, open. Mm-hmm. I have great staff actually that I would not be here without.
I love our staff.
Yeah.
This is a staff-friendly podcast.
I would not be here without the people who support, you know, my staff. I couldn't. But on every Monday, I'd have to be here, open up. If somebody ordering a drink, I'm back there. I'm not a bartender by trade, but I've learned how to
Bartender by
work.
hustle.
Correct. So, you know, I had to do that to get to a point of finding the right person to now be able to take over for me in that. So that was a sacrifice. So sometimes to get to the point where you can control your time, like you said, you may have to
do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
do
I
the
mean,
job.
they know it's nothing in here. If I got to bust the tables, clean the bathrooms, sell the cigars, order the cigars, order the liquor, pour the liquor, I'll do it.
Yes.
Because I can't look at you and say, why the toilet not clean?
Yeah.
If I walk in and be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Nah, fix it.
That's when I learned this concept of controlling my time, because I was doing all the jobs. I said, man, when I ain't got to do all the jobs no more.
That's great. It's like the best feeling in the world is when we're open and I'm with my daughter and I'm not here.
Yeah.
And I know that the place is not on fire, thank God, you know, and that it's fine. And the people I've trusted, because when I first opened, I was here 7 days, 12, 14 hours every day, and I was like, I can't sustain this. My biggest responsibility is I have a 10-year-old daughter, you know, being a mom and making sure that my business doesn't take away from her experience and her growth. And I'm honest with her. Like, she'll ask me questions like, so how's work? Like, what's going on? You know, like, so I talk to her and she's an iron fist. She's always like, well, you need to fight. Like, my daughter is just like, if they don't do it, you need to fire everybody. You need to start up. And I'm like, baby, that's not how this
you gonna come help me?
Yeah, she's like, you are the boss. And if you say do it, they better do it. So
because you are the boss. I like that.
That's her, you know, and I'm like, that's not how this.
That's not how being the boss works.
You fire
but
everybody.
I love that she has that assertiveness, and she kind of has that like, nah, this is what it is, you know. And she's developing that now, even in 5th grade, you know. And I pray that stays with her, so she always feels confident to assert herself, and you know, so. Those are the things I'm thinking about is, you know, I want to raise a good human.
Yes.
You know, whatever she decides to do, is she a good human? And you need the resources to have the time to
make sure.
To focus on that.
Like, baby, we can't fire everybody because then I can't pick you up from school.
Right. Because you be working.
She is not with it. She's like, Whoa. I'm like, nah, that's not her.
Can I don't want to take too long on this, but hiring staff. What was that process like for you, knowing who to bring in so that you can leave the building and know it's not on fire?
I think people in management have to desire to be excellent on their own. They have to care about excellence aside from you, right? Their desire to be good is not about whether you think they're good. It's because that's what they want to present, that I do a good job if I have an opportunity. Because those are the type of people that are going to care about your business, right? Even when you're not here. They're going to care about making sure you're not wasting things because they want to do a good job. Because you have people that's going to do a good job because you're watching. Those people work for, you know, bartender or whatever. But people that you trust to run your business have to, like my manager now, her name is Selena. Aside from me, she wants to do a good job. It has nothing to do with me. It's because it represents her, you know, the way she wants to represent herself. So I always ask that question, like, you know, what matters to you? Like, what do you want to do? You know, what's your goal? And so you can kind of see those people who they just want to be great regardless. And then you have people who are good at their job, you know, that are amazing bartenders. They may not be managers, but they're great at the job. So now, you know, in this industry, you know, people talk about it's high turnover. It can be. I'm thankful. I would say half my staff has been with me at least for over a year. Some since I opened my doors. So I'm thankful for that I've been able to keep people and they like working here most of the time. It can be tough when my staff is 99% female.
Yeah.
And you got men, and you got those men that you got,
I'll say it.
But for the most part, you have, good people who respect their work, they respect them. So when you hire for people who you want to help take over for you, make sure that excellence is not just about you, it's about them.
100%. I think that's a very powerful, perspective, because I engage and I speak with entrepreneurs all the time, right? And everybody's biggest thing they're trying to solve is staff, talent, that now some people don't have the right infrastructure set up to like develop and train the talent. They're probably not the best leaders themselves to really sit down and really go through like the different ideologies that they want the staff member to like pick up on. And it affects their business, right? And then some people are just not good business people when it's all said and done, not good leaders. So there's
some people are good business people, but not good people.
Exactly.
They can run a business all day, all night, but understanding that the person that works for you is a whole person, right? And interestingly, like I remember I had some people on the staff that were like, "Oh, she doesn't care about us," right? At one point, and I'm like, "What?" Like how your parents get upset, like, "Do you even know the sacrifices that I make?" So I just took y'all to Chateau Line for our holiday event. I took the whole staff to Chateau Line. We had lunch, went to the vineyard, we had a party bus. Anytime someone asks me, can they get off? I'm like, cool. So I'm like, there are a lot of places like this where the owners don't even know y'all name. They don't know anything about you. They don't know your name. They don't know that you have children. They don't know you got 2 daughters, that you're in school, that you're an esthetician when you're not working here, that you got a skincare line. They don't know any of that. Yeah, but I know those things about my staff. And when I can support and buy stuff to support them, I do. If they say, hey, can I bring my stuff in? No problem. Get money, So there's always, as an entrepreneur, when you're close to your business, some people have these expectations of you that are above and beyond. And then you have to kind of create a balance between business and who you are as a person to really care about people.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate one.
Yeah.
We were talking about being the bad guy yesterday, Ty, as far as like when there's layoffs and when things happen in companies and it seems like the boss is protected and they're safe and that they're not making sacrifices. Have you experienced this sense of like people perceive you as you're just safe and protected versus being in the trenches with everybody that you work with?
I think that's always the assumption people make about the owner, right? Not realizing that you make more sacrifices than anybody else in the building. People make assumptions in general. I remember when I first got the keys to this place, there were all these assumptions that I was married to an NFL player and he gave me the money. I was like, well, where is he so I can get the money? My brother is an attorney and they said that he shook down the people to force them. Then I was connected to the cartel. It was just all of these like
cartel.
Yes. And I was just like, what? So it was all of these like crazy rumors. I'm like, no, I'm in here painting and putting tile on the wall myself because I don't got it like that. Like I'm calling in favors to family and, friends and using my network to getting it out the mud. Like y'all thought, I just, nah. And so I think whenever you're a visible entrepreneur and people know, like, when you have these big companies, like people might know the CEO's name, but they've never seen that person. They never have had a conversation with that person. So it just seems like this figure of their imagination. But when people know you, you're even more prone to be judged, or people make assumptions about things. And yeah, so I have dealt with that, and I had to get to a point of blocking out the noise. And it goes back to, again, what do you draw from? What are your core values?
Yep.
If the decisions that I'm making fair, if the decisions that I'm making are based on trying to grow the business and do what's best for the business while still keeping some level of caring about my people in it, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So certain things, people are not going to like everything you do. They're just not. But you have to know for you how you justify it. And you have to decide, as we talked about, time is not a limitless resource. Where am I going to put my time and my energy when it comes to, am I going to be sitting up trying to explain to somebody that has a problem with me anyway why I made a decision? Or am I going to focus on the customers who want to be here and make them comfortable, make them feel welcome, and make them want this to be a place they come and spend their money?
And then they talk good about it when they're not here. It brings more business.
Mm-hmm. You have those. Then you have those that, well, I heard she did so-and-so, so-and-so. Yeah. And unfortunately, again, people sitting around smoking, doing nothing,
just chat.
And when I first opened, that used to bother me. I used to fight about it. I used to be really upset. Now it's like, oh, you heard that? Did you hear the one where I did this too? Now what?
What about the NFL wife?
I'm like, where is he? Because I would love to have his money, but yeah. So
I'm a huge supporter of Black women doing business, Black women doing anything that's trying to progress them through their careers. And so when Latanya, our PR, told us about your story, and I went and looked it up, and I caught wind of your marketing background, right? And so when most business owners come from some corporate sector, right? Rather, like you did really well in marketing, but then you launched a cigar lounge, right? And I have to think that is a part of, like, when you have a mentality of fuck you money, you go out and you try to invest into things that you enjoy, right? Because you see a void, you see like, oh, this could be really dope if I could do it this way and I add this type of flavor to it. But it has a lot of marketing elements to it, because I can't really think that there's been a lot of cigar bars that I've went to that have live music, right? And then they have like a different cadence on how they want to make their clients and everything feel safe.
It's about experiences.
Exactly.
So everything that, I started my marketing business in 2006, and, we were have been blessed to work with Coke, Pepsi, Lexus, Gabrielle Union, Tony Rock, like all these. And a lot of what we would get hired to do is create events. And when I'm creating an event, my thought process is always kind of on, okay, what is the emotion I want the people to leave with? What is the takeaway that is connected to this brand, right? And that's what I try to do here all the time. It's like, what is it that I want people to feel and experience when they come here? And then that is the core for how you build. So it's not as far-fetched as a lot of people think, because if, I'm looking out on a Friday night and I see a couple dancing, or I see some homegirls celebrating a birthday and everybody's turned up and they're smiling and enjoying, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you get to that point of creating community, creating moments, creating experiences? And that's all in your operation, right? That's all in how you do things and how you train your staff. So it's all connected, but it all centers from brand, right? It's all brand. So at the core of any brick and mortar is what do we want people to feel? Like when you go to Chick-fil-A, you're going to get my pleasure. You're going to get a certain type of service that you may not get at other restaurants, but that is their focus. Is that how they train the staff, the type of youth they hire, All of those things ladder up to amazing customer service. That's what they want you to get. Positive experience. So it's no different here.
The last question I would have from a business owner to another business owner, in your plan with Stanley's, do you have a expansion plan? Is it something like I'm gonna open up in different cities, or if this just like, you know what? I just like how this feels, and I don't know about the other side of it.
Man, I'm a Pisces. That changes every day. I'm emotional. So some days I wake up and I want to conquer the world and I want to have multiple locations. I want to do this, I want to do that. And some days I'm like, man, I'm about to just go back to work. I'm about to find me a job and just go back to work, clock in, clock out, get my check every 2 weeks, retirement plan, all that. The I don't want to say the easy route, but the sure route. Technically,
the surer route.
Yeah, surer, right? Yeah.
It's the less pressure on you that way.
So I wish I could say yes, my plan is to, but I wouldn't be being realistic.
Yeah,
I'm in a season of figuring it out and really seeking God. Like, okay, what? When I opened this, I knew that it was bigger than just me. Like, it wasn't just about me having a lounge so I could come in here and walk around and look cool. No, it was never that, right? It was the opportunity sometimes to meet other women that are like, yo, I never even thought of that. Like, that's so dope. Like, I feel inspired. And that's a cool feeling, when you meet people that have watched your story and they think that what you're doing is inspirational. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
It was to be able to, I've spent over $100,000 in other small Black-owned businesses and people that have come in this building to do services, performances, this, that, or the other. So it was never just about me, big up in myself, like, look at me, guys. So my prayer in this season is God showing me, like, okay, this was so that you could do this, or this was for this. And the hard part about faith is that it's never, you don't get the full playbook up front. Like, I wish I had the full playbook. I could be like, oh, so next I'm doing this. And
it ain't no script.
No, like, I never thought that doing concerts, I worked with a company for years, still kind of do that, does festivals and events, and it's 20,000, 40,000 people there. I never realized how, in the moment where I got people cussing me out about their seats and their chairs and what they not going to, never realized how dealing with that can help me, was going to be instrumental in when people hear, excuse me, you the owner, right? Well, I want to tell you, this is flat and my Prosecco don't have no bubbles in it and I feel away. Okay, but when so I never, in those moments when that was happening and I'm changing out tickets and I'm, trying to make sure that they can enjoy the rest of their night if something went wrong, never realized that was preparing me for
this.
Yeah. So,
customer service skill set when you're actually responsible for the problem.
Correct.
Right?
Even when it's to you, and it's made me, I could say, since opening this, when I go to other places, man, I'm so understanding because I know it's just,
it's great.
You can train people for 50 days and they still do something else. And you'd be like, that's not how it's supposed to. So that's one thing that I talk to people about. Like, look, give people grace. Like, I promise you that it goes along.
Yeah,
it goes. So hopefully, do I love creating experiences for people? Absolutely. Do I love cigars? Most definitely. Do I want to keep Stanley's open and make it a place that people come and they enjoy themselves? Absolutely. Definitely do. That's all prayerfully in the cards.
Yeah.
And then, looking at where that takes me next. Yeah.
So a question I like to ask people is, imagine that your 17-year-old self is watching you right now, what would you say to you?
Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Don't let people play in your face. You, whatever table you're at, you worked your ass off to get there. You deserve to be there. And don't let anybody make you feel like you don't. Because there's so many situations I've been in that I didn't say, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Or like, hold up, no,
Wait
a minute. Or nah, you need to pay me. Because I just made you $1.2 million on this deal. What you mean you ain't got, there's so many times that I didn't feel, because most of the industries I've been in, I worked at the NBA, I worked at ESPN, I worked, in entertainment. I've always worked in environments where, I was, it was more so male dominated. Yeah. And, I graduated college in 2002. So a lot of the things that people now will ring the alarm about, it just was what it was when we were younger. It was just like, I had a manager say to me once, as a white woman, I don't want you to think this is a plantation or I'm a slave master or anything, but we need you to be more willing to work on weekends. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, right? Imagine in 2023, a
should have been reported.
multi-million-dollar sports league is about multi-billion, probably. Somebody saying that to a young Black woman, man, I'll be so rich. But at the time, Stanleys. Right, at the time, I'm 21, 22, fresh out of college, feeling like I didn't have any power. Like I just, but my mom, funny story about my mom, I'll never forget. I told her what happened. And, my mom was raised in Memphis, Tennessee, segregated South. She's with the shits through and through, right? My mom called the commissioner's office. I was working at the NBA. And she was like, David Stern was commissioner. She was like, let me tell you something. She was like, I will be up there with a bunch of Black women in blackface saying that y'all are racist if y'all don't figure it. So I'm sitting at my desk, right? the whole incident out my mind, I'm just feeling, feeling low, like, I get a call and it was Adam Silver he was like lead counsel at the league at the time, right? So I'm like, he must have called me by mistake. Why would he, the top attorney at the league be calling my desk? So I was like, hey, no. He left a message, right? He's like, hi, Monica, please give me a call. So I'm like, what is going on? So I called and he's like, yes, we need to set time up with you. We need to have a conversation. Your mom called. She was very upset about something that happened with you, and we just need to get to the bottom. I was mortified. I was like, I can't believe you did that.
So she didn't tell you she was going to call.
No, because again, you said, what would I tell my 17-year-old self? Speak up. I didn't for years. I'm just now getting to the point of telling people, nah, B, we not. So she knew me. She knew I was not going to say anything. I was just going to let it go. And she was like, So I called her. I was in tears. I was like, they're going to fire me. She was like, I hope they do. You got a bigger lawsuit if they fire you. I dare them to fire you. Tell them to do it today. I want them to fire you today. Tell them to do it. I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I'm never going to work in sports again. No one's ever going to hire me. It's going to be awful. And so because I was not comfortable with my position at the table when I had the EEOC meeting and all that, I downplayed it. Oh, it's fine. I knew she didn't mean it like that. Oh, man, I should have went in and I was offended because the day that she wanted me to come in was MLK holiday.
Yeah.
That was the day we had.
Get out of here.
I promise you, we had the day off. Technically, it was like one of those floating.
Yeah.
Not a really holiday, but a holiday. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not working MLK Day. Like, no. So the next day, that Tuesday, she was like, yeah. And that's when they had the conversation about my commitment to the job and the team. And So when I went in the meeting, it's this panel of people, HR people, and they're taking notes. And I'm like, it wasn't that bad. No, it's fine.
She took your mama with you.
Man, that lady, she was like, I hope they do.
You'd have came
tell-
out with a
tell them to hire
raise.
you
You're
today.
right.
Tell them to hire you today. That's retaliation. I was just like, oh. So I would tell my younger self and any younger person, being quiet doesn't make people value you more. And nobody is gonna just give you what you deserve. People don't do that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't say, you know what, this person is hardworking. They've contributed to my team. They've helped me. They deserved it. Some people do. Most people, unless you make it known, this is what I need to feel valued. This is what you have to do. They're not gonna do it. And I've missed out on a lot of money. I've missed out on a lot of things that I should have claimed for myself because I didn't speak up for myself. So, and it takes growth, and I'm growing into that space.
1,000%.
That was excellent.
Thank you. Very excellent. I love the mama stories.
Man.
I always love the mama stories.
Mama is still, she's to this day, she's still 74 years old, but will pull up. She gonna write a letter. Like, I remember they were giving my cousin a hard time in dental school, only him and the other Black student. She wrote a letter to the whole board of directors, everybody. Like, she's that still.
She heard.
Huh?
Heard.
Spoke up.
Oh yeah.
She speaks up.
She speaks up.
Yes, always. So yeah.
We appreciate you gracing our conversation.
Thank y'all for having me.
And we will hope that as we are building out this platform, that it helps drive positive business to your establishment.
I pray so. I pray other women see it and know that if you want to get into the construction industry, do it. You want to be a plumber, have a plumbing company, why not? You know, don't feel like, well, you might have more challenges. You know, I remember when I was opening, it was like a whole group, like a group me, like, we not going there. We not supporting her. Never met the people in the group room. It just was like, we don't fuck with her. Why? I never met y'all. Like, but you got to keep going.
Yeah.
So if there's anything I would say, I pray people get is speak up, keep going, and understand that time is not a limitless resource.
Definitely not.
Get your fuck you money so you can control your time.
Yes, indeed.
Come on.
So you can invest in the people and the things that matter to you. So, cheers.
That's all we got today, folks. Until next time.
Until next time.